Yes. Can you hear me? Test. Okay.
Welcome to the Femi and Friends podcast. This is episode 4. I'm here with Ying Vigilian.
Hello, guys. Episode 4. Wow. It's a baby. We're a baby.
Yeah, man. Shouts out to episode 4.
Yeah.
Oh my god. How did you get your start in comedy? Like, when did you decide to become a comic?
Okay. It's a long story. First of all, when I first watch comedy show, just start from there. How about that? As audience, do you want to hear from there or?
Like I want to hear your story about like the first time you went up on stage, did set, like what happened?
That's way back in Spokane, about 13, 14 years ago. I don't remember what happened. I remember I got laughs,
Oh,
and
you didn't bomb.
I didn't bomb. I probably have a piece of paper in my hands, something like that. But I really think we should go back to when I first time watch a comedy show. Yeah, you want to hear that story?
Sure, why not?
That's very interesting. It was my ex, kind of sort of like husband thing. It was a date. At the time, I didn't know it was a cheap date. Like $10. Okay, we're talking 20 some years ago. So got in there. It was a bar show. I was sitting there. Everybody was laughing left and right. I was the only one not laughing. I was like, what is going on? Like, I don't know. Maybe my English was not good. I really didn't. Probably 50%, at least 50%. I did not understand what the comic were saying on
But they were doing
stage.
a good job.
Yeah, because everybody else is laughing. So from that, it just got me. I was not happy. I'll just say like that. It bothers me because I did not like that situation. That I've been in this country like 20 years. I don't understand the English out there. Maybe it's a culture thing. Something not right. So after that date, well, of course, a cheap date, $10 date. I mean, by the way, there's still $10 comedy. Comedy, we still have not. The price is still $10 comedy everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So then after that, I actually bought ticket myself to see comedy because I want to figure it out why I'm not understanding jokes.
And so for you to
That
figure out comedy, you had to do it.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing because as far as the comedy thing go, I actually started Toastmaster first.
Okay.
It's public speaking, right? A kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Toastmaster club. I did that about 6 years before I tried open mic.
Yeah, and like that's
Yeah,
good enough experience. If you can do Toastmasters, you can do anything.
yeah. At least I could talk now in front of people. So that's kind of first a step.
Okay.
I told joke about it. It was like 7 years of a Toastmaster. I learned just open my mouth. That's one of the joke. The reason I kind of dared to even try comedy was like the Toastmaster. They have every year they have a competition.
Yeah.
One called humor speech competition. The other one is a serious speech. So I did the humor speech
And
competition
you
and
won.
I got second place.
Fuck yeah.
I was like, but okay, the joke is there are only two people. So of
You got
course
last
I
place.
know, and that was in the club level, right? So I got so like it's a club level. I think 3 people signed up to do the competition. All right, but on the day of competition,
2 people.
only
showed up.
2 people showed up. That's a club level. So like, of course I get to advance because 2 people get to advance.
Yeah.
So that's a no-brainer. I got to advance. Yeah. So on the next level, I forgot is it district level or something. So 3 times I did the same thing. The second place, a second time was 3 people showed up. So basically, it's 3 people competing for 2 spots to get advanced. I was lucky again. I was second place. I got advanced again. Yeah, it's like that's. It's like these people are doing Toastmaster public speaking for years, years, years.
And you
So
just come in and you fucking mop
yes, and
them
when
up.
time is come for you to actually do the competition, they just chicken out, and I don't care. I just got up there and just
We know you don't care, man.
Yeah.
I heard a story about you going to a fireman's wake, right? And you were like, man, this,
fireman's week.
like the fireman died. A
Oh,
fireman's funeral.
I see. Okay.
And you were like,
Right. So, okay, that is a half truth, half fake news. What happened was, I read a newspaper article, front page in Spokesman Review, says one fireman died in his house of fire. So I was like, this is hilarious. So I wrote a joke. I went exactly. Oh my god! Thank you so much, Femi. Give me five. Femi, give me five. Femi, give me five.
You're
Okay.
a monster, Ying.
No. Like that's just beginning. So I just thought this is so funny story, right? I mean, fireman died in his sleep. His fireman, but his house burned down to the ground. So on this Thursday, I think Thursday open mic, that was only open mic at the time in Spokane. So I went there, I talked this joke, but then people was like, Ying, what's wrong? With a fireman died in a fire in his house, and then they were just giving me hell. At the time, I have no idea this fireman just died. Used to do open mic at that club, and that the club owner, everybody is a friend of that guy. I had no idea. I was just starting open mic. Yes, that's where it's not even funeral. Okay, that's where all they spreading the rumors. They're saying I was the evil person. Like, what's wrong? It's kind of like, okay, to them, it's kind of like the second day of 911. You go out there, tell 911 joke like 911 too soon. I mean 911. I'm talking about 911 too soon. To them,
But you ain't going to the fire station.
but to me, it was. I did not know that at all. Like okay, probably like newspaper article on Tuesday, open mic Thursday.
So 3 days.
Yeah,
so
it's something like that. I forgot exactly what day the news came
so
out.
3 days. So like
Yeah.
between dude dying,
Yeah,
open mic. You didn't even know it was his bar.
I-
It was his local neighborhood bar that he went to.
I did not know this fireman used to be okay a open micer comic.
Yeah.
He no film. This was just happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. That was fake news. No. I never went to the funeral. No, nobody invited me. So what happened? Yeah, no, nobody. So anyway, so that was because they tried to put me down. That's what they're saying, and I was shocked. I didn't know why. Because I just felt the later the news come out is it was conspiracy. He was killed.
He was murdered.
He was murdered.
By who?
I don't know. He was murdered, but then they tried to cover up the murder, so they burned the house down. It was probably about 2 weeks later the news came out and spokesman review, right? Another news. So that's when I thought, oh, yeah. So maybe I did a second set about this event, but I never went to the funeral. I think they had a
Wait.
no. They had a memorial comedy show for this guy, the fireman, but they did not invite me. I think the owner probably thought about inviting me, but they didn't. But I didn't remember.
I'm not gonna lie.
I did a second set about after the news reveal he was murdered,
Yeah.
and the whoever murdered him tried to cover up, so they burned the house down, so that they think you see what I'm saying. But I had no idea. So when the Dave first told this joke, I have no idea he used to be a comic. I had no idea.
Yeah, you were at
that-
his home bar.
Yeah, the comedy the bar owner knows this guy, and I had no idea of that. And actually, at the time when I told this joke, there are few people really laughed. The people don't know this background story, and also this guy was comic. I'm talking about years ago. He hasn't done comedy at that point for several years already. Yeah.
It's still hilarious.
I
Ying.
think
That's
it's
the
still-
funniest.
Yeah.
That's one of the funniest stories I've heard about you, and Virdith has heard about you in the comedy
Yeah, I
scene.
saw you guys laughing like crazy, but I just consider at the time I did not know nothing. I don't know why they were giving me a hard time.
You were
know,
making fun of
I
their
was
dead
just
friend.
I was just starting open mic. Yeah.
It was an accident. It was an accident of pure ignorance. You know what I mean? You didn't know.
Yeah.
You didn't know that that's where these people hung out and kicked it.
No, I just saw whatever I felt like was funny. Just tell something funny. Yeah, I do feel that's funny. Second set, I was trying to, because after they're giving me a hard time, I said something about they find out he was murdered. So then I said, okay, now it all makes sense. Of course he couldn't put out his own fire because he's dead. So I said something like that because at the time, the first time a joke, it was like, what about his training? Why he couldn't put out his own fire? That's what I said. Like, don't you have a training? Like fire, you had got up, like 3 minutes. I mean, 50 seconds to get ready. You had to rush to the fire station because I visited a fire station at my job. So second time, yeah, second set I did. So, okay, now I understand he's dead. Of course, he cannot, put up clothes and put up his own fire.
Ying, you pull no punches.
Yeah.
You're like he's a fireman and he died in a fire in his own home. His fault.
Well, I didn't say it's fault. I'm just saying I think anybody have sense of humor would laugh, and the people don't laugh. Of course, they're emotionally connected to him. I understand, but the fact that Spokane comic circle try to give me a hard time, that just means they have no sense of humor. That's all I could
They're
say.
just in
Really,
their feelings.
yeah, and they're not being fair to me. Yeah, they have been not fair to me, and also when. Yeah, I think the owner, he's actually pretty nice to me, but he did give me a one time advice because when I started it, I really didn't talk a lot about myself. Not like now. Now I'll talk myself. At the time, most of my jokes are commentary, like newspaper or China. I talk a lot about comparisons of China versus U.S., a lot of culture
Yeah.
comparison, that kind of thing, right? I never talk about
And
myself.
did
Right.
the crowds like enjoy those sets?
I'm not,
Did they
sometimes
identify
I did
with it?
okay, sometimes or not. But the club owner told me, says, Ying, you're new. So nobody cares about what you think. More, I probably 2013. We're
2013?
talking, yeah,
Like 12. You've been doing
12.
comedy for 12 years.
Yeah, so like 20, either 12 or 2013. So he said, unless you're famous, like George Carlin, then they, of course, they care about. So I said, well, because at the time I learned comedy from watching YouTube, like George Carlin. I saw that's what you're supposed to do. But I think that is a good advice at the time, right? So it's like, so now I totally changed my approach. If you have seen my comedy, mostly talk about myself,
Yeah,
my
it's way
kids.
more personal.
Yeah, way more person, my kids and all that. But that's how I started. That's why I was reading newspaper to getting materials.
So
So that was a good advice, I guess. Although I don't know if he just want to pleasing what comments are saying.
yeah,
But I think, to be honest, I think it's good advice for now.
it is.
Because sometimes I even tell new comics nowadays and say, well, maybe talk about more about yourself, maybe more connecting to the audience
Once
instead
you
of.
started talking about yourself in
Yeah.
crowds, did you feel that your comedy exponentially improved? Did you get funnier?
Uh, well, okay, like what material you talk about when you talk about yourself, right?
Your
So
personal material
my
about you.
personal thing is, I found out the punching down yourself probably work better with some people don't agree with that. That's what I find out. You punching down, make yourself a joke,
Yeah,
okay, instead of punching down other people. I think it worked better.
and like
Yeah.
I noticed that you love to talk about your experiences compared to your. Excuse me, let me articulate this better. I noticed that you like to talk about your experiences and your juxtapositions between how your life was in China
Yeah.
and how it was in the U.S.
Yeah.
Is that when you've noticed that your set started to develop?
uh, uh yeah, well, one thing I try to avoid is if you talk too much about China or Chinese culture, and then people feel like you're not connecting
Okay.
to the audience, right? So I try, uh, eh, well, unless it resonate with audience,
Yeah, and
that would do, yeah. But in the beginning, I would say joke like when summertime I went back to China, I saw blah blah, blah happen. I saw my dad, so I would write joke about that. Then I bring back to the open mic. At the time, I'm talking about.
And it would work.
Yeah, in Beijing, China, the capital city. Yeah, Beijing. Well, Beijing is very political town, so it's maybe like Washington D.C. If you know the Washington D.C. scene, a lot of material is about politics. So in Beijing, China, grew up is like everybody just naturally like to talk about the big issues, because we are here now. We're in the center of the universe of China,
What did your
right?
parents do in China?
Well, my parents, my dad kind of worked for Chinese NASA. Is yeah,
Whoa, you're
yeah, is a space in the now they call it's a Chinese space industry.
so he was like a physicist?
It's well, he's got his physics degree for sure. Yeah, so yeah, there in the unit in China's unit because we're living in the compound. Like,
Okay.
it's all like numbers. It's like okay, they're like one, two, three. You see what I'm saying? So they're uh yeah, so that's my dad worked for Chinese NASA, Chinese space program.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And my mom, it's kind of like is park manager. So in Beijing, China, there's so many parks, right? Like, uh, what is it called? Like, Summer Palace, okay,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Zoo, Beijing Zoo. That's where my mom used to work. And I remember when I was little, visit my mom. My mom's main office, like headquarters, is the Beijing Zoo. That's their set up office in the zoo. But sometimes she go to different parks,
So
like Zhongshan Park, which is right next to Tiananmen Square. Is that yeah? That was in very central. So I just go in there. It's like, I'm looking for my mom. My mom work here. They just let me in.
manager of the parks department.
Yeah, the
Was your
doorman. They
mom
know
your
my mom's name.
your
Yeah,
dad worked at NASA? So you
Yeah.
had a middle class upbringing.
definitely.
Yeah.
We live in the middle class life because in that time, Beijing is divided several areas. So we're in the west of Beijing. The west we call all like compound,
Yeah.
like the NASA or the space program is one a huge area. I don't know how many acres, like there, that, and next to us is like, uh, the Air Force compound is all military compound. We're the only civilian compound actually, living in the west side of China, Beijing, China. Yeah,
That's nuts.
I know it's crazy. Like my classmates in high school, they're all
Well, you
people
live
are
in the middle of
competing.
nowhere.
Yeah, people competing like okay, there's like we are looked down on your compound. Okay, we're what I'm saying it's like we're the Air Force. You're what you're the military. So we're the space program.
Yeah.
So they're like everybody kids are. It's not that obvious like try to brag about where they're
But your
come
dad's
from.
a rocket scientist. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
my dad eventually managed a library. So kind of because he's getting old, right? So that's where the last job he retired on is he's a manager of the whole library.
and I
For the
just
compound. Yeah.
yeah, and I just assumed that you came to the U.S. for like university.
Yeah. I did graduate at Zhejiang University, which is in Hangzhou.
Yeah.
They call it Eastern MIT. So that's the best technology and engineering school
And-
in China. In
And
Hangzhou,
what degree
yeah.
did you get?
Well, I got undergraduate in chemistry, so it's not engineering. Yeah,
And then you went to graduate school out here
yeah, Moscow, Idaho,
for what?
for chemical engineering.
So you got like a PhD in it?
No,
A
just
master's?
master. Yeah, master degree. I had a joke about the reason I landed in Moscow, Idaho, because that was your weakest link, because I couldn't get in. Universities in New York City and Seattle, it's too hard. And Moscow, Idaho, University of Idaho, relatively easier to get in. I did apply, but that was
And
a
it's
school.
still accredited.
Oh yeah,
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 you're good.
yeah. It's still a good school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's how I got to that. This country is through education, the door of education. You
Hell
get
yeah.
student visa. Well, at the time, I also told joke about the last year I got pregnant, right? I got pregnant. I got pregnant first, then I got married, and then I defend my thesis in September, and then I deliver my baby in December. Four things I accomplished in 1 year. Then any one of those will be huge deal for a white girl. I told joke about
Yeah,
that.
you
Yeah,
were hustling.
yeah. See, because my daughter, the firstborn, is December,
Okay.
right? So that means I got pregnant somewhere, in there,
And you're
right?
like what, 25, 26?
No, I'm
Like
28,
23? You were
28,
28 at the time?
28.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, um, I got pregnant first, like pretty obvious, like out here. So it's like, this is not good. We should get married. So we get married, with it's a white guy. Yeah,
And then you
yeah,
moved him to Spokane.
yeah. Yeah, that's and then another thing I know I don't know if I supposed to tell this is a podcast,
Tell
but
whatever you feel comfortable
and
telling.
also during that year I was delivering baby, I also fought a sexual harassment case. I know that's a
For what?
well, it's kind of complicated story, but it's a my professor was trying to get me into all kinds of stuff, right? All kinds of shit. That's how my ex-husband, we were dating at the time. I was always depressed, so he was asking me, "What happened? What's going on with you?" So I told him with this professor thing, and he said, "You know what? You should go see a counselor, school counselor." So I went to the school counselor. I told the counselor the story, what's going on. So the counselor said, "Sounds like you have something going on." Uh, I don't know. Then she recommended me get a lawyer. So my ex husband at the time, we got a lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just say that one. So then my lawyer tell school we want to start investigation. So the investigation started. Let me just this the university's own investigation concluded that this professor took advantage of me.
For
Yeah.
sexual harassment?
Yeah. Well, at the time there was a lot of thing, happened because
Okay.
we did have sexual relationship. I mean, not relationship, okay, not relation. It happened, okay?
You had
This
sex with your university professor?
yeah.
And then you
Yeah, that's why things but because he was in a position of a power, if I don't, he will cut off funding because I was on RA visa. Is a graduate student is like you either on the research or TA. TA means you teach, right?
s-
Uh, I don't want to get into detail, but
we don't have to.
right. So, but the university's own investigation concluded that basically saying he is the fault, not my fault. Okay, that's what that is. So then, so eventually, it was settled.
But
Uh,
can I clarify one
yeah,
thing?
yeah. Go ahead.
So he was sexually harassed you, but the sexual encounter that you had was like mutually consensual?
What I can say is like as far as specific act
Yeah.
happened, maybe consensual, but not overall. He's not
But-
like he's put a gun on my head. So if you don't,
No,
do
no, no.
that,
But like
okay, yeah.
he was
He in a position.
he
of
was in a
power.
position where he was like where he explicitly told you he was going to withhold funding.
Something like that, or
That's fucked up.
yeah, stop funding. No, well, yeah, it's more complicated because it started. He was trying to learn Chinese from me, so I have to schedule one-on-one session. I teach him Chinese.
So he honeypot you.
Yeah, or something like that. And then, but anyway, so because
That's evil.
I
I'm
told my
sorry
ex,
you had to experience
yeah.
that, Ying.
So at the time, the sexual harassment was not even a word, but
Yeah.
but it happened that at the time because a graduate student have a lab, kind of our office. So I'm in the same lab with another guy from Boise, Idaho. He was doing his PhD. So when I told him the story, because when I go through, I was very depressed, right? He's asking me just like my ex husband, why you're blah blah. So I told him, he said, Ying, your story, if it's on the front page story that publish, you'll be $1 million woman.
Yeah.
So he said the university will settle $1 million with you. So he said, do not settle because of the like my ex husband at the time refused to discuss what I discussed with my lawyer and then the counselor. So he was almost like a buddy to kind of to tell after I got the lawyer involved, my husband wouldn't want to discuss anything with me. At the time, I forgot I was married or not married, not even married yet.
Yeah.
Right. So I told him, it's like, really? Because I have no idea about American culture. But he said, just prepare. You're going to stay in this town for 5, 6 years after you graduate. So is that what you want to do? Because this thing's going to drag out. They're going to dig out all your dirt,
Yeah.
and
And
so I was
like,
right. So I
yeah.
was like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to do this, and also, sure enough,
And then you settled.
the other professors team,
Yeah.
they're interviewing all my friends, Chinese friends. Like try to say, Ying, sleep with her. They like try to get dirt on me to see if I
They were trying to paint you as a whore.
right to
Yeah.
see who else I slept with. So it was like funny, but I think eventually everybody said good things about me.
Yeah.
When they because you had to submit in writing.
It's
My-
not your fault that some
Yeah.
creepy professor
Yeah.
like tried to start a sexual relationship with you under the guise of learning Chinese. Like he was
Yeah.
like he tried to initiate being your friend so he could get close enough to you to cause a sexual encounter.
Yeah. So to be fair to that professor,
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm totally innocent, okay? Because to me, I was kind of curious about white men as a young Asian woman. Yeah, I have never had any, so I was like, maybe on my side it's my fault. I wasn't serious. Like, what's gonna hurt? Just 1 or 2 times.
Was your first
same
husband
time.
Asian?
What?
Was your first husband Asian or was he white?
White? The other guy. I'm
The-
talking because I met the professor before I dating this white guy.
Oh.
Yeah. So in a way, I was dating the white guy, try to get away from the professor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why he got upset. He was jealous. I'm dating this guy, right? So, yeah, but it was not like we're having a relationship. It was not like that at all. It was just like, like doing the Chinese study thing. Then sometimes he would demand something, right? So I just kind of
So he demanded sex from you.
yeah, I kind of hesitate to use that word. You keep saying that, but that's what happened. Is I think it was maybe a couple times or something, and one day he was very serious. He told me he wanted to divorce his wife, and he said, "Yeah, that's why I just immediately I want things to stop." He said he wants to marry me. I was like, so that's what I'm saying. On my side of things, it was not like from the very beginning I'm telling him no, don't do that. It was not like is on my side of the story. I did feel like, well, I don't like it because he's about 20 some years older than me.
Yeah.
Right. He has 3 kids. I feel like he's having married something, and I know his wife. I know his kids. I mean, because I've been to his house, like holiday, like a party thing. He invited me to his house. Yeah. So I know his family. So, but when he said that, I was, oh my God, I'm ruining his life. I'm ruining my
So
own life. I was young. I want to graduate, go find my own. Why are you doing this to me?
So there was just
So-
a lot of gray area.
Yeah, a lot of gray area. Yeah.
And then you guys had a sexual encounter.
Yeah.
Spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Because life happens.
Yeah.
And
Life
then-
happens. Yeah.
And then he starts introducing you into like his life and his social circle,
yeah.
and you determine that this guy has a wife and
Yeah.
a kids,
Yeah.
and this professor wants to leave his wife and kids for you.
Yeah.
That's
After-
fucking crazy.
No, after he said that, I scared. I said, oh my God, because never in my mind that I wanted to ruin somebody's life, somebody's family, right?
Yeah.
And also going to ruin my life. That's not what I wanted. Okay? That's not what I envisioned for myself. I just want to finish school, go to some other city, find a job, start a life. And it really scared me. So all of a sudden, after that, I said, no more.
You're
I
like,
said, yeah.
You're like, and it wasn't even because
Yeah.
you didn't want it. You were
I
just
didn't-
you saw the consequences of what
Right.
was happening, and you're
Right.
like, you need to think about what you need to do.
Right. So I stopped. So, and after that, everything's no. Then I start actively dating. If somebody date me, yeah, normally I, we said no. So anyway, so then I start dating this guy, right?
Okay.
And then he got jealous. He just, because I tried to get hook up with somebody else so I can just get away from me. I can just tell him, look, I got a boyfriend. Please stop bothering me. So I think
And he just didn't stop.
it didn't stop. I think that's where they define the harassment after I clearly said no. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. because I was really really scared. I
Thank
was really
you.
really scared. Yeah,
Thank you for explaining that to
yeah,
us
right, yeah,
and telling us your story because like
yeah,
that's a very vulnerable experience to go
yeah,
through. Like
yeah.
that's scary. He could have lied and you could have gotten sent back to China. You might have been forced to go back to China because of your visa.
Yeah, I don't know about that part. WSU Civil Engineering Department is trying to have a position, part-time job, a full-time job, to do some mm, data analysis and experiment. Are you interested? So I said, oh, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go interview. So I went to the campus interview. So I got that job with a professor. So I wondered if that's part of a favor Linda is trying to give it to me because I did her a favor,
Yeah,
agreed for her to take the
the
University of
lesser
Idaho
yeah,
job, right?
and the lesser
And she
settlement.
knows after I graduate, I have no job and my baby is too little. She knows I want to move, but if I move to Spokane, I still have no job. So she kind of tried to do me a favor.
Yeah,
So I took that job. I work at the Pullman WSU Wazoo campus for a year. I did a good job, their civil engineering department. So the professor says that you did all the experiment, you collect all the data. Maybe you want to consider to maybe just go ahead do your PhD because all you need is just take classes
yeah.
because you have data to write a thesis. So then maybe take another 2 or 3 years, you got a PhD. So at the time, my thinking goes, I don't know about chemical or civil engineer, chemical engineer. He is in the environmental engineer at the time. The
Your
field,
husband? Oh,
no, no, the
the
professor,
professor?
right?
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know. I can get job here because all the PhD you had to go to like Alaska to get job. So I said like master degree is good enough for me. And then the professor said, well, then you have to leave. We cannot keep you just doing the work and
Not
not produce a
getting
thesis. The
yeah.
professor, they all care about the thesis,
Yeah.
right? So they're only trying to find the PhD student. So that's when I left.
And
So
then you moved to
I
Spokane.
moved to Spokane. Yeah.
And you just started working out there.
No, I think one of the reasons I moved to Spokane, I just kind of get away from Moscow, Idaho.
Yeah.
And also I try to find a job here in Spokane is bigger.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking if I cannot find a job here, I'll move to Seattle. That's the next step, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I moved to Spokane. I tried different things. I even tried import export business. Try to run a export business.
Yeah.
I
What were you
tried.
importing, exporting?
That's another interesting story. I went back to China 1 year visit. I saw some art company. They are doing the inside painting. The little jar thing. They put a like teeny, some kind of a hair thing with the brush. They
Yeah.
put inside the paint, reverse from inside out. So I went there. I said, "Wow, this is amazing! This bottle is amazing." They blow the glass right to a
Yeah.
bottle. It's like, can you paint a Christmas ornament? I can sell this in
And they say,
America.
yeah.
Yeah, and then like, wow, I ordered maybe. I have them painted. I give them the sample. Like the Christmas themed stuff. And when first I took some of their Chinese traditional painting to bring back to the American to see if I can sell. I sold few among friends and stuff, and
Yeah.
so yeah. Then I told them to paint inside painting Christmas ornament. I think I started that. Yeah, and I started selling that in Spokane. A called one of the venue is called assignment consignment, which
Consignment.
yeah, which means you don't need to stand there all day long. There are like
You
so
give
many vendors in
yeah.
that big hall. I have
You give it
booths.
to them.
I just lay out everything. So when the venue sell, they took 30% and gave me 70%.
Yeah.
So that's how. Yeah. So I did that. I break even. I didn't lose money, but I didn't make money. So I decided not to do that. And also I got a job as a used car salesman. I sell for yeah, I know.
used to sell cars.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
shit was evil.
Yeah, Hyundai. That at the time, Korean car Hyundai is just starting in the U.S.
Yeah.
market. So that's their first dealership on the Sprague, kind of a Spokane. So I saw ads on the newspaper, so I just went in there. So I got a job after the interview. So they're saying most customers buying Hyundai are young people.
Yeah.
So that's why they want a young salesperson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that for like 6 months or something. Yeah.
And you just didn't like it?
I didn't like it, and also have a problem with one of the sales guy. I think he might get good point. He said like wintertime, right? The manager want everybody go out there, scrape the snow from the windshield, right? You gotta
Yeah.
clean up. And then I was kind of cold. I kind of maybe stay inside. So the sales guy said, why don't you go? You think you're a woman that you can blah. He said a lot of that things. So you think you're a woman, so you don't need to go, right? So like I just didn't like what he said, and there was other issues. So I eventually just quit. But then later, I got the Department of Ecology job. So
Fuck yeah.
yeah. So that was like the story in Spokane. It's okay.
Your life story
Whatever.
in Spokane.
I know. That's what I'm saying. My comedy have even it just touched the surface. I haven't get into all that.
Yeah.
You know, me being a used car salesperson, I think was like third month or something. I was the salesperson.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Rachel Dolezal. That was later. Okay.
So like, how did you get introduced to her? How
No,
do you know
that
each
was
other?
way later. When the Richard Dolezal story on the newspaper, I read it. You know, I said this person is fascinating to me. You know, because I said, this white woman, she got everything going. Why she declare herself as black? You know, at the time I was just curious. I was following her on Facebook. I just tried to learn about her story. I definitely not like majority of the people condemnation of her because I'm just curious, right? And then the really change in my heart is after I bought her book. I'm serious.
You
she
read it?
wrote a
Wait,
book.
you read her book?
I read her book, so all of a sudden I'm totally on her side. I think this woman is out there fighting for black people. And I don't know why people are against her. You know what I'm saying? And also I got it where her thing come from because she talked about she was raised in Montana by white people. This white guy probably fundamental Christians. So from very young age, about 5 or 6 years old, something, her parents make her go out work, work like just very harsh work condition, right? Kind of thing. So she probably from young age, she feel like she's a slave of her parents. Yes.
Get the fuck out of here,
Yes,
Ying.
that's-
Shut the fuck up.
For real. That's in her.
A white woman works hard,
No,
right? And she feels like a fucking
No,
slave?
okay,
I'm sorry. No, I don't
that
agree with
work
that.
hard is a
That's
child
stupid.
abuse. No,
That is the
it's
stupidest shit.
no, it's I'm talking about that's where
Feel like
her-
an abused child. Don't be like
She's
she
abusive.
feels like a slave.
Well, I think that's where her root of a hatred for white people comes from. Because her parents are white, treating her like that shit, right?
That doesn't
Okay.
explain her fixation
No, but
on black culture and black dick.
at least what I'm saying is I bought into her story, okay? I believe she's telling the truth in her book, okay? I don't think she's faking. At least, right or wrong, it's her real feeling. You might not agree. That's fine. If you don't agree with her, but I think she is telling the truth of her feelings, okay? But then she also talk about when she started developing attraction for black people. It was in her teenage years. She saw a sports magazine on the cover of the black guy. So like all of a sudden, she's like, whoa, like wow, So I mean, maybe it's a sexual thing at the time, because before that she didn't feel like she's black. Okay, but after she feel like she's attracted to black, it took to her. That's kind of a transition point. Then she wanted to. She wanted to know,
She
learn
saw the
everything
cover
about black.
So she saw a cover of Sports Illustrated, and she was like,
the
"Man,"
black guy, like
she's like, "Man, I
masculine,
want black dick so much,
No, I mean she's a teenage.
so much."
No, I don't think
I
at the
wanna
time it's
change
a
my
big thing.
skin color.
She wanted to learn about black people. So that's what she tried to get an opportunity to learn, and of course also her parents adopted 2 black kids from Africa. Okay, so she has black siblings.
dude.
I think it's one girl, two black boys or something. And of course, because she's big sister, she's a lot older than those black kids that her parents adopted. So she had to learn how to braid, the black hairs, right? Because she's big sister. Basically, she was saying she was doing the caretaker instead of her parents. So it's a gradual process. And then, of course, the one part I didn't like, I agree with the majority, is when she go to college. The black college, Harvard.
Yeah,
something.
she went to Howard. She went to Howard on
right, and so
and
she basically lied on the application.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's thing you check.
Yeah.
What ethnic group, right? You white, Asian, and black. She checked black. Okay, so of course, this is later revealed that people make big deal of.
Yeah.
And so this part I don't agree.
And then she sued Howard University for discrimination.
I think she should just check white. Okay, and then whether or not they accept you, that's their thing. But she checked black. That's how she got admitted to the university. Of course, after that, she just full blown. She just thinks full blown she's black, and then she has to make herself look like black. So go tanning to make her skin tan, because she is blonde and the blue white. That blue white I'm talking about, okay? And also she's
beige, white.
Yeah, and she's got her hair maybe dyed, braid and all that kind of crap. But she did devote herself all to black cause. She teach black history in Eastern Washington University of Cheney, which is about 45 minutes drive from Spokane. So she's I don't know, she's assistant professor there, and also she was the
head of the NAACP in Spokane.
At the time though, because nobody won that position, it's not paid. It's like nobody's thanking that job. She's a volunteer. See, I don't blame her to step up to be the president, because at the time people around her already kind of think she's black. Of course, that's not true. But
like at the end of the day, she's a white woman cosplaying as a black woman,
right?
For her personal gain and benefit. You're telling me they would have hired Rachel Dolezal as the head of the African American Studies department
at the time,
because she was white?
No. At the time, she already established herself as black. So people just think she's black. At the time, people didn't question, are you white or black?
But she's still a white woman. Like,
she is.
She can wake up.
But she's not telling anybody her story.
But she can wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what? I'm done with being a black woman. I want all the rights and the privilege.
Why would she do that?
But she can't. She has that opportunity to do so.
Well, yeah.
Just think about it like this, right? As she pretended to be a black woman, right? Yeah. She was the head of an African American Studies department. She portrayed herself as a black woman in the community of Cheney, Washington.
Yeah.
There were actual black people that could have taken the opportunities.
But nobody taking those jobs. Nobody stepped up.
So nobody wanted to be the president of the African American. Nobody wanted to be the head of the African American Studies department in China.
Because it's a thankless job. It's a thankless job. You don't get paid. You spend a lot of money.
How much was she getting paid as the head of the African American Studies department?
No, like I said, it's a thankless job. What my understanding, I don't know now, okay? Back then, I think based on her book, she did not get paid of that job.
She didn't get paid being the head of a university department.
No. She get paid. That's her day job. She get paid job that. I'm sorry, talking NAACP, you know that.
Yeah, but that's an opportunity that she took away from a person of color.
You mean the university job?
Yeah.
But she got a degree.
Yeah, but there's other qualified people of color to get that degree.
Well, I mean,
she deceived everybody around her.
No, I don't see it that way.
I
don't see it that way. It's just like if there's open position, everybody apply. The university pay her, hire her, fair game. Okay.
I mean,
so
do you think she would have been hired if she wasn't portraying herself as a black woman?
If she says she's white,
if she was a white woman,
probably not being hired. But I don't think.
Do you think there's a? And I'm not even trying to personally attack you. Okay. I just don't fucking like Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah.
Do you think that she took a perspective opportunity away from a black woman or a black man or a person of color that could have led that department?
Well, I don't think she intentionally
But did
take a
she?
job
Did she?
away.
Did she?
That is not a fair question to ask because that's her chosen path. She chose the area of her study. She got a degree there. Of course, she wants to use her education to get a job,
There's
and
nothing
which
wrong
she
with wanting
did.
to use your
But I don't
education.
think that at the same time you ask, okay, that's equivalent of taking a job from black person. You know what I'm saying? I don't think. For me, I don't see it that way. Everybody deserves a job. If she's qualified to teach Black history, that
It's not
means
even the fact that she's qualified. There are many qualified people that would probably be able to do that job. But it was the fact that she portrayed herself as a black woman.
because she identified herself as black at that point already.
She's a white woman. How does a white woman get to identify
Well,
as black?
the same thing.
Because there's a privilege that is associated
What
with
about
white women.
Caitlyn Jenner? Caitlyn Jenner,
Caitlyn Jenner does not identify as a black woman.
No, he identified as what? I was a woman.
Oh.
I mean,
Wait,
so
Caitlyn
that's
Jenner?
another interesting thing. Is the same year when Richard Dawson thing came out, and also Caitlyn Jenner came out closet as a woman.
And guess what?
So
Caitlyn,
the two news going on at the same time, but
and-
nobody had problem with Caitlyn Jenner.
and guess what?
You know, as Bruce Jenner. I mean, the whatever Bruce, whatever his name is, it used to be a star athlete. All of a man.
10 years later, Caitlyn Jenner.
All of a sudden later, she is a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Caitlyn
What?
Jenner 10 years later is Bruce again.
Okay, whatever that is, I have problem with that. I think I don't have a problem with people identify as black, born white.
I do.
But identify
I do.
with, and you haven't heard how this whole story came out and how her story exploded was her parents.
Yeah, her parents were sexually abusing her.
Right, no, not her parents. Is one of the siblings.
Was sexually
Is
abusing
sexually abusing the
children.
black kids.
Yeah.
So they, so in the court fight, and of course she was on the side against her parents.
Yeah.
So her parents then told the newspaper, whatever, her story, tried to exposing her as a fake. It because tried to discredit her story. That's how this whole thing came out.
She's still fake.
If her parents did not tell the newspaper or anything, she's still a black as her.
She's not a black woman.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. At least I don't think
she
is trying to take advantage of black people. I think she sincerely identify as black. She loves black culture. She wanted to be a black person. Okay, that's why she devoted herself with black cause, all of it. So after I read her book, and also she honest in her book, she said that she married a black guy. That's her first husband, but she said in her book she never had orgasm from the black guy. That was another thing I shocked because I said, well, if she liked black people, like black guy, she probably have all this sexual pleasure from a black guy. But in her book, she says no. She never get it.
This is fucking crazy.
I know. Go read her book. She said
I don't want to read anything about it. She's a white woman who decided to cosplay as a black woman. She sued the university.
She
Howard.
didn't sue. No.
Yeah, she sued Howard for discrimination.
Oh, she sued Howard.
She sued Howard for discrimination.
Okay.
Because she felt that she wasn't getting ample opportunity as a white woman in a historically black college or university. Mm-hmm. And then she decided to cosplay as a fucking black woman for her personal gain and benefit. And that's what happened. Okay. You know what I mean? Okay. But and don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
For a lack of better words, Rachel Dolezal is brave for standing up for her black siblings and accepting the consequences associated for being outed as a white woman cosplaying as a black woman. Because, like, that's what happened. That was the threat her parents gave to her. It's like, if you expose the information that your sibling is sexually assaulting your other siblings, then we will tell the entire world that you're a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman from Idaho. Like, I accept that, but like she still took opportunities from black people when she was portraying herself as a black woman. She didn't disclose the information that she was a white woman.
Your position or opinion is nothing new. It's like mainstream American. That's why people don't like her is because of an opinion like this. But I think in her book, not only she exposed this part, she also exposed her parents.
Yeah.
Her parents was kind of like pastor or something in the rural area, some church. The reason they went to Africa, her parents went to Africa, is because they wanted to start new because they could not continue in the US. So there was almost like exploring something in Africa, start new, and also for some kind of financial benefit. Because after they brought the black kids here in the U.S., that's one of the ways they get compensated from the government. The
The United
kids,
States government or
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, United States government, and they get, yeah, they get kids probably free because they were there in Africa,
so they're
you
just
know.
using the kids as a meal ticket.
Yeah, yeah, it's something like that. A lot of people on the welfare system is kind of like, so that's she exposed that part of story too. I was like, wow,
It's,
that's why she has no respect for her parents because with her getting older and get to understand a lot of things was happening, so that's why she decided just to leave home, and I agree with her analysis part of her parents,
okay.
you know
Yeah. When did you meet her? Yeah.
uh this yeah, that was like few years later or something. Oh, after I adopt my own daughter, remember Vera, she's a black girl. Oh, you didn't know that? I talk
Yeah.
about joke, right? You know that, right?
Yeah.
So then after I adopted my daughter, I saw Richard Dolezal posting on Facebook she services she provides. She said she breed hairs, African black hairs, because at the time she lost her job, she had basically no income. But she's artist, she sell art, she sell paintings, right? So I told my daughters like maybe we contact Richard Dollars, or maybe
She can braid
she
your
can
hair.
braid your hair, because my daughter go to other places spend $100 braiding her hair. Sometimes it costs $150
Yeah.
to one session hair. So that's when I contacted her. I reach out to Rachel Dolezal. So I'm saying I'm always fascinated about your story, and which is true. She didn't know I bought her book. I read her book. She didn't know. I told her that. So I'm fan of. I say you are. I think you are a pioneer of something. When you start something, people always. I do think she's a pioneer. Just this line of I'm born white, but I identify with black. I think the world would be better world if more people can say that
Can I
I
can I
identify
ask you a
as
question, Ying?
black.
Can I ask you a
Yeah.
question, Ying?
Okay.
Can I identify as a white man?
Yeah. Sure.
Would I gain any societal benefits from identifying as a black man, a white
I'm
man,
not
a white man?
concerned about benefit or not benefit. I think the integration of all the cross race culture is beneficial for this world to get rid of or reduce the conflict, a misunderstanding. When I started open mic in Spokane, I literally even said we could just fuck ourselves out of this racism thing if more interracial fucking happen. The I think the hatred for different race will reduce.
I
I
don't
I
think
do
so.
believe that.
I
So
don't
let me
think so.
finish. So the story. So I texted her. So I told her I have daughter is black. So I say, if we can have you to braid her hair. So Richard Dolezal, she used to just ignore me, right? So this time she said, yeah, maybe we should get together. So she said, come on over. She gave me her house address. So I went visit there. Like, so it was okay. I know you paint. Can I buy some painting? So she said it's all sold out. There's some duplicate, like the not the real
The
original.
stencils and
Yeah,
like
yeah, like $50.
the prints.
So I bought some print, and she said this is only one left, the original oil painting. I didn't like the painting because no, it was abstract. I don't know what that painting was all about. Okay, but she said that's the only thing left, and it's $500. So I paid. Yeah, I read a check. I bought that painting, and that was the only. We took some photo together. I posted on Facebook. That's when Spokane all of a sudden, whoa, me and Richard Dollars are friends or something. And also I got her hooked up with my daughter to do the hair thing. So they Yeah, at the time I was doing open mic, right? So then later, my daughter did go to her house. She did braid her hair.
Did she do a good
You know,
job?
I don't know. My daughters are kind of tight. You know, sometimes when you
Yeah.
put too tight. But my daughter did pay $100 for her service because that's that's her open business. It's not like hiding anything. Because she said I need help. I need because she lost her job. She had nothing. So I think it's legit. People helping her and buying her
Her
stuff.
paintings,
Yeah,
her
painting. So
books.
so after that we have very good visit and everything. So I invited her to come to an open mic. So I did not know people hated her that much. I was just doing my set. I was, by the way, Rachel dollars are in the house. Like give it up to, because to me she's a friend. So yeah, but because she's dark, nobody knows, right? Because dark, she's just sitting in the audience. So when I introduced her, all of a sudden people harassing her. I had no idea. Yeah. So I just gave it up. I invited Richard Dollars here, my friends, blah, blah, thank you. So I gave it up to her. So she stand up, and then other audience, I think, was harassing her. One guy, I think, comment says, yeah, Rachel, I want to date you or something like that. So she left. She got up and left. So from that point on, she's now texting. We're like, no contact. Yeah, I think she's really mad at me. She probably think it's set up. It was not set up. I was sincere because she told me she wanna go watch my show, support me. So I guess now I feel like I made mistake. I should not mention her name.
Can I
I
ask you?
should not. I at the time I didn't know people hated her. I have no idea. I was living in my little world, right? I have no idea other people hating her. So that's why I just introduced her. All of a sudden, people are like
So
giving her.
you were
Yeah.
yearning to be friends with Rachel Dolezal.
Yes,
You wanted
yes,
to be good friends.
yes,
Like,
real friends.
you
Yeah,
wanted to establish a relationship
yeah.
with Rachel
I don't
Dolezal.
think she's a bad person to this day because she raised a fantastic, very accomplished son. Her son get law degree. Her real biological son with her husband, they divorced, okay, with
Yeah.
her ex-husband, and also eventually she adopted her parents' son, the black boy. Now it's her son. Yeah, age-wise. So I don't know what court battle they went through, but eventually one of the black boys from her parents is now under her custody. So she is the legal parents. So yeah, that's the situation. Anyway, so it's about time. That's just the episode one. Yeah. To this day, I don't know how to get back with her because she cut me off. Yeah, we're yeah,
Do you want to
yeah.
continue?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if we can just take a break for now, then take a break. Yeah, take a break so then we can record the second part of something. Yeah.
I'm not worried
Are
about
you
taking a break.
stopping or you?
No, we can keep on going.
Yeah. Well, I can keep talking.
Oh, let's keep
Yeah.
talking then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Um, a spoken comedy thing. I want to say one guy. I really appreciate. He just passed away of cancer. Yeah. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I forgot his name. My senior. Oh, Nick. Nick. Something. So I was doing because at the time I didn't know comedy, like you work on your set, work until you get good. Right? I
Yeah.
thought you should just write the new material. So like
No.
almost every single week I would write new material. Sometimes good, sometimes not. So Nick one time told me, she said, Ying, you're very talented, but do you have 1 hour of material? That was the first time I even heard comedy or bits is material.
Yeah.
I have no concept. I think the reason is because I always tell new jokes. He probably think I have a lot, but for me, because I didn't know this, China never have a comedy, so to me it's just so new. I said no, I don't know. What's the material? I said I do not have 1 hour material, and so Nick says, if you have 1 hour material together, and then you can travel the country,
Yeah.
do the same 1 hour material because you're doing different clubs. So that city heard it, that city have not.
Yeah.
So like first time, wow, that's how comedy works.
Yeah. You develop
So
an act.
before Nick told me that, I never know how comedy works and how those professional comedians do their job. I just saw they're naturally funny. Like something that I do in the weekend, go watch comedy shows at that club.
Uh-huh.
It's Uncle D's comedy club. That's now I remember. It's Uncle D's comedy club. Some of the comedians are so funny. I saw they're just naturally funny. I did not know you had to develop your set and put a 1 hour material together. So Nick, it was the first person to get me even think about a series about comedy, and also
And
that's
just
how comedy works,
and
right?
developing an act.
Right. And also, he is always very positive, and say these things. I'm like, wow, I very appreciate Nick.
Yeah.
I think that was positive, a person. But after that, they Bark Entertainment start Spokane Comedy Club at downtown area.
And then you started doing their mics.
Well, at the time I got also my back pain,
Mhm.
so I kind of quit for it's for a couple years, for a few years. So I didn't go back, because even I go back, they're giving me a hard time at the club. I don't know why, So my positive experience, one is Nick. He's very encouraging, and also and another guy. But overall, I would just say it's not a good experience
With Spokane?
with Spokane. Yeah, I think they are giving me a hard time for some reason, but nobody said I'm not funny. That's another thing. There's I'm funny, but I have one guy said all my thing is a racial material, so not relatable to audience. That was one of a comic made a conclusion of that. Yeah.
Just getting
Well,
paid gigs.
I'm getting on open mics, but not getting the closer spot. Yeah. So I
They weren't giving you the
apply.
good minutes.
Yeah, I applied for a closer spot, but in the beginning there was a different a manager, and I think he's okay. He gave me one time a closer spot, but then they changed after my surgery. I really come back. There was a different Kim. That's her name. So she eventually, of course, get fired, because people saying she's not fair. But the first encounter that I think she was not fair was me. So anyway, so that's
Do you feel like your race had anything to do with it?
yeah. I think that's another thing. I don't know if I want to get into that or
And then
not.
we won't.
Right, people stealing my jokes, so that's of course they don't want to book me. Yeah, and yeah, so that's another very dicey area. So anyway, um, yeah, but
And
I
how
can
does
just skip that. I just but I do appreciate, at least it got me started.
how does your
Spokane.
experience from doing comedy in Spokane to doing comedy in Seattle differ?
Seattle definitely a bigger city, so you have a different talent pool and more diverse comic pool, and also diverse bookers. Dante Bernard was the first one that booked me. Barnett, yeah. So I would say my real break is during pandemic.
Yeah.
Real break in comedy, because all of a sudden you can do online Zoom comedy. You can bypass the local comedy scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like doing tons of Zoom comedy at the time, 2020. I think it was later years. In the beginning, I didn't, because I got COVID, so I was sick for 6 months. I think first Zoom mic I did probably July or August of
Mhm.
2020. Like I was like discover a new world. I was like, wow, there's people are hosting Zoom comedy from New York, from Los Angeles, from all over the country. I just get on as much as many
So you're
open
just
mics,
hustling mics online.
and people say I'm funny. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. I had no idea, right? And also, I started taking class. I think at the time, the first comedy class is in Seattle.
Laughs.
Gray, Peter Gray. You know Peter Gray? That's before Taylor
Taylor Clark in there.
Taylor Clark. Yeah. So I drove. I think it was 2019. I drove weekly to here to taking his class. Yeah. So that's when I discovered I was not that bad. So really, I thank Seattle for that, for discover me, Peter Gray, and
See,
um, Well, he didn't say I'm great. I'm just saying in the class I stands out.
So your experience compared to Spokane has been significantly more positive than
Here.
here than it
Yeah.
was over there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But of course, it's not ideal
Mhm.
because it's still some of the bookers they say you're funny, but they never book me, right? So that. But see, the thing is, I never had any beef with nobody, not anybody. I don't know why,
People
but
have beef with you.
okay, okay. But like I said, that the fireman thing definitely is a rumor. They speak.
Yeah.
I never invited to the funeral. No. I don't think I've invited to the memorial show. They had a memorial show for the thing for the guy, but I was not invited to.
Huh?
But they just try to spread the rumor. But they so anyway, so then Peter Gray, that class was good. Then during pandemic, I was taking online classes
Hmm.
from New York City, the Manhattan Comedy School. So I did that, and also did like after the class, they have a graduation show online or and in person, which means you go to the club to do it.
Yeah.
So I flew to New York, did a showcase. Yeah,
Killed
the Gotham Comedy Club.
Gotham Comedy Club.
Yeah,
Did you have a good set?
I have good set, and also of course L.A. Flapper Comedy Club. They provide a lot of online classes. I did those classes. Like that really opened my eyes, opened my mind. In the shithole of Spokane, I did not even know there's a classes offered on comedy. I have no idea, really. So it's like Seattle was the first one make me say, oh, you can learn. It's not natural. It's like you have now. I understand that saying. It's like talents come and go, but eventually is whoever work harder and persistent
Yeah.
will prevail. It's not the talent. So this really prove that you have to learn. So now, of course, I'm taking classes from LA and also Phoenix, Arizona. There's another Tony. He's really good. I'm taking a lot of classes. So I have to say my comedy improve a lot. I have really pay attention to punchlines.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just timing
yeah,
and
and
rhythm.
everything, and also premise. I have one. I think is a Neil, right? Well, he has a different name on the online. Uh, Barry Neil. He said some. I took his online class. He said that nowadays there's so many things you can talk about, but just look who is on Netflix. Is really their material. So you want to pay attention what you want to say. You can spend same amount of time on this material, on this, on that. So why not to give all your energy and time on this material that stands out and the different and means something instead of all the dick joke. No question, dick joke gonna make people laugh. A lot of things can make people laugh, but pay attention what you want to focus your energy, what material you want to do. Is like wow, that line during online Zoom class, he said, I remember to this day. So now I am picky of what material, what things I even want to say. I'm not just trying to make people laugh. It used to be whatever make people laugh, I'll do it. I'll say it. But now no. I would rather to think, okay, is this worth my energy? Is this what I wanted to focus and mean something to me? But
Yeah.
of course, maybe other people have a problem with that approach. Well, it's not authentic. You're trying to leading people some way. You know.
I think the only thing we can do as comics is just write jokes about topics that we enjoy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
it. Like we
Right.
can't pander to white people
Right.
and their sensibilities.
Yeah.
We can't pander to fucking gay people and their
Mm,
sensibilities. You can't really pander to black people and their sensibilities unless you're Gary Owen. And then like even then people are like, eh.
yeah.
The only thing that you can be great at is being yourself. And I feel like a lot of comics don't understand that. I think a lot of comedy is just surface level thoughts. It's just, oh, how do I look? How do I sound? How do I talk? Like you really don't get to have the opportunity to delve into a comics viewpoint and way of thinking.
Right.
and it shows, and it shows everywhere.
Right. So not only that, and also whether or not you enjoy that joke is that thing will make you laugh. So then your task is how to translate that to make
Everyone,
audience laugh.
yeah.
Sometimes if something that you think funny, but audience are not laughing, so it's not like in that situation, not like abandon that joke. You need to work on it. Okay, why I think it's funny, why they don't. So you need to go back and say, is that my delivery problem, or should I tweak the line that I'm saying, so I think
The
that will
pacing, the
be,
writing, yeah.
yeah, that will be a good starting point of what material you're picking is a topic you enjoy to talk about and you think it's funny. So then, just try to make them happy. Yeah, I mean, fun, laugh. That's the thing, right? What else? What else? Question that you have?
You know
Yeah,
what?
or right
I
there.
I think this is. Do you have any more questions, Fear Death?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think I have any more questions. Thank you for being on the podcast. Actually, I do have one more
Okay.
question.
Okay.
If there was anything you could say to Rachel Dolezal right now, what would you say? And if you could, please say it to the camera.
Okay. I know Rich Dollars will move to Arizona because that's where her son lives, after graduate from college. So she left Spokane. I think now she should be more bold and not try to hide, but she should make it clear, says, yes, I am born white. Apologize that she lied on her application for Harvard University. But I do think if she identify as black, I think she should keep saying that and also do more good for black people because you have to prove that you're trying to help black people and you're doing all this for black cause. I think now is the time that what you do match what you say. So now just talk the talk, walk the walk.
And that's the end of our episode. I'm calling episode 4 Spokompton Pioneer. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Bye bye. Fucking good episode.
Yeah, I do think she is